Welcome to Table Talk here at the Philadelphia Sports Table Podcast Show, the longest running weekly Philly sports podcast show in the world, over 13 and a half years strong. Got a great show coming your way this week as we dive into some MLB storylines. There's a lot going on in the American League, a lot going on in the National League. We're going to talk about some divisions, some wild card races as well. And to do that with us this week, we got our good friend Kris Willis from SB Nation. My friend, it is great to see you. Thanks so much for jumping on here.
Oh, appreciate you having me back. It's always fun to talk some baseball.
Absolutely. Always fun talking MLB storylines with you, Kris. I usually have you on our opposition territory show where we focus on the Atlanta Braves, but I wanted to bring you on just because we're in this era, or I should say in this time of year in August, where we're looking to see who is actually built for October here. And I want to start with some NL East talk where your Atlanta Braves, my Philadelphia Phillies, kind of, going to be perhaps duking it out a little bit more in the future here. Because look, the Braves are only 3 games up on the Phillies at this point. And then again, Philadelphia Phillies here, they've had quite the up and down season. They've been on hot streaks. They've been on cold streaks. As a fan, it really drives us crazy up here in Pennsylvania. So I'm wondering, do you think the Braves are going to inevitably stay atop the NL East? Do you have any concerns? What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I have a lot of concerns.
Okay.
Honestly. No, I mean, I think it's going to be a battle all the way to the end. I think a lot of Braves fans were rightly critical at the trade deadline. I think we felt like the Braves needed to add at least one playoff caliber starter to the mix. They didn't do that. But the swoon, I mean, they came out of the All-Star break playing well. The Phillies were struggling. League got to 9.5 games. They've lost 7 of 10. The lead's down to 3. It's not really been the pitching, though. It's been they can't score runs, and the Phillies just don't lose, and that's the recipe to see your lead evaporate.
Not right now. They do, but not
right now. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's how the league got to 9.5 anyway. Is the Phillies came out cold out after the break. So the crazy thing is, I mean, the Braves are 5-1 against the Phillies, but they haven't seen them since April. And the Phillies are a much different team now than they were in April. So, I mean, ironically, it's going to come down. I think they play each other 7 more times, 4 in Philadelphia and 3 in Atlanta. Those are going to be huge series, and I think, something you said a minute ago was about who is playoff tested. And I think this is an opportunity for the Braves to show it because – we've seen the Phillies have had that first round success against Atlanta the last 2 times they've matched up. Yeah. And it's just felt like they've been the tougher team. And I think, with the Braves here, I mean, I don't want to get ahead of myself. I mean, the Braves have 3 games coming up with the Dodgers. I mean, this league could be non-existent by this time next week. But you feel like they're going to go into that series in Philadelphia on September 4th. And they probably have to go into that series and at least split. Yeah. And we know what kind of environment that's going to be. They know what kind of environment that's going to be. And, I think it's about being playoff tough. I have all the confidence in the world in Chris Sale, but behind that, I don't know, at this point. And I think that's where a lot of our criticism around the Atlanta's trade deadline comes from. The bats have got to get going. Austin Riley swung the bat a little bit better in the second half, but Matt Olson carried them out of the All-Star break. But it's been a lot of inconsistency. I think they need Ronald Acuna to get going. Yeah. They just need to find themselves for the stretch run, and I mean, it's August, it's the doldrums, kind of the doldrums of the
days
summer
of August. Yeah.
we're fixing to turn, the page to the stretch run. Yeah. It's going to get real quick here. And, I don't have a good feeling about it. I mean, I feel like you go into a series against the Phillies and you see Wheeler, Luzardo, Sanchez. That's a tough out for any team.
Absolutely.
I know they've had some bullpen issues and whatever, but if you can't score, you can't score, and that's kind of where the Braves have been at for the last week or two. So,
there's some There's
Go ahead.
similarities between these two teams. There really are. I
Mhm.
mean, there have been so many stretches during this season where the Phillies just haven't been able to score either. And it's
Mhm.
frustrating when you have Christopher Sanchez, Zach Wheeler, Jesus Luzardo pitching lights out. It has happened a number of times this year. And all of a sudden, the bats just go cold and cannot score. And
Mhm.
it's wasted pitching. It's wasted starting
Right.
pitching. And we're getting that from the Braves too. So
Mhm.
it's an interesting storyline for us to follow for sure over the course of these next couple weeks here, next 3 weeks, maybe even the next month as well. But as we're moving along here, Kris, I really wanted to dive into a storyline that we have not gotten into very much on this podcast platform. But I wanted to talk about it with you because it deals with one of the biggest deals that was made during the course of the offseason, and that was Kyle Tucker and him heading to the Los Angeles Dodgers. I mean, Kyle Tucker has had a brutal season at this point. It seems like just such a disaster of a signing for the Dodgers. I mean, I hate asking it this way, but I'm not sure how to ask it. I mean, do you think he breaks out soon, or is there something really going on with him here? What are your thoughts on what's happening with Kyle Tucker?
I mean, it's been. I was not expecting this type of season from him
Right.
in Los Angeles. I mean, I think there was this little bit of a narrative that he was disappointing last year with the Cubs. And I think he did swoon down the stretch a little bit. But when you look at the totals, I mean, 136 weighted runs created plus, 4.5 Fangraphs WAR. I think the Dodgers would love to have that right now,
Yeah,
in the middle of the order.
of
I
course.
think the thing that jumps out at me is it's a 60 weighted runs created plus at home, 126 weighted runs created plus on the road.
Oof.
And it just feels like,
Oh,
and I know he's getting some boos now at home. The
yeah.
defense is struggling. It looks like a player to me that's just pressing, trying to live up to that contract.
He's in his own
And I
head.
think,
It seems like he's in his
yeah,
own head. Yeah.
without a doubt. And I mean, when he went to the Dodgers, I thought that was a good fit for him because he didn't seem like that guy that wanted to be out front,
Yeah.
and he could go to this Dodgers team and hit fifth or sixth and be a kind of just put up solid numbers, and nobody would have probably written anything about
Yeah.
him. But it's not worked out that way, and I think he's a big key to their offense. As good as the Dodgers are, we were just talking about offense struggles. I mean, that offense looks old sometimes,
Yeah.
and sometimes it looks like a machine. So,
Yeah.
what are you gonna get as far as that goes? And I mean, I think he could swing a series, but man, right now it just doesn't look good, and it doesn't. And I think the bigger thing is, he's just having as bad a defensive season as he's
Yeah.
had in a long time. So, I don't really know. I wish I could solve the Kyle,
No, I
the
know.
Kyle
We don't
Tucker
have a
problem,
crystal
but
ball here, but
no.
I find it amazing that there are times during the course of an offseason where a team makes a decision, a huge financial decision, a huge contractual decision, and when it doesn't work out, I can't necessarily remember a time, Kris, when this massive of a contract was given and the player and talent just absolutely fell off a cliff. Like I mean, it's been a while since it's been
Mhm.
this bad. And you got to say to yourself, this is baseball. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
this is baseball. This is what happens to players every now and again.
Yeah, I mean, and sometimes you just have a down year.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's what he's doing. I mean, you look at his projections, and I mean, they still believe he's going to turn around. I was shocked to see that big discrepancy in the home road splits. So I
Yeah.
think there is something to it. I mean, I think he's trying to perform so hard. He's just I don't know how you fix that either. Once it's the mental part of the game, I think that's the most difficult thing. So, but I mean, we was talking about pressure. I mean, they're 9 games up, probably going to have the best, one of the top 2
Right.
records in baseball.
Right.
Why are you feeling so much pressure? I mean,
Exactly.
you could be in the NL East right now, really
Yes.
having to duke it out. So,
Right.
um,
It's going to be interesting to watch. I mean, it's going to be interesting to watch and see how this all turns out for Kyle Tucker. Like you said, Dodgers are in a pretty good position. They're not shying, or they don't. Their talent is there. Sometimes, again, baseball, you get cold every now and again, but the Dodgers are a darn good team. But there's another team that I thought coming into this season was going to be a really good team here, and now I have questions as to whether or not they're even going to make the postseason, perhaps. And that's the Seattle Mariners. I mean, the Mariners seem to be in a different situation kind of than the Phillies have been in. Phillies been kind of just winning some games, pulling these games out. And the Mariners seem to be going in the opposite direction, losing some big blowout games recently. I'm wondering, Kris, if they're still alive in this postseason race. But I want to get your thoughts here on how the Mariners season's going here and if they can actually make the postseason, in your opinion.
I mean, I picked them to win the AL West.
Yeah.
To me, they're the most disappointing team in baseball. From where we thought they were going to be in the postseason, in the preseason. Dead last in runs scored. That tells you everything you need to know about this team. I mean, look at Cal Raleigh, unbelievable season last year, storybook season. He's hitting 159, and I know we don't lean on batting average too much anymore, but who would have thought he would be hitting 159 with a 73 weighted runs created plus
Crazy.
At this point? I mean, that's them in a nutshell. Every time I get ready, I know we're going to talk about the AL wild card. Every time I get ready to write them off, you have to remember they're in the American League, so technically they're not out of it.
Right.
But I have to question. I've thought that pitching staff's had a lot of good pitchers in it, but I mean, you have to really question when you start giving up 18 runs, 20. I don't know what the Brewers scored, 22 runs.
22 runs, yeah.
At this point, I start to think, I don't know how they can stay in it. But again, it's the AL, so technically they're still in it. But yeah, to me, they're the biggest disappointment. I feel like that roster's got to change. After a season like this, you get into the offseason, you've got to make some drastic moves just to try to shake things up.
Absolutely. Again, folks, we're talking to our good friend Kris Willis from SB Nation. Head on over to SBNation.com. Tons of sports content all the time. Kris, before we go to break, let everybody know where they can find you on the interwebs out there if they want to connect with you.
SB Nation Baseball, we've got all our team sites over there. We've got great communities. I try to bounce around as many of them as I can. And I'm also on Blue Sky, Kris with a K _Willis.
All right, very good. Folks, we're going to take a break. When we get back, we're going to dive into the AL wildcard spots, NL wildcard spots, and we're going to talk about what this upcoming collective bargaining agreement may look like for the future of baseball in 2027. Stick with us. All right, we are back with our buddy Kris Willis from SB Nation. Head on over to SBNation.com. Check out all the baseball content, football content. They got all types of sports content over at SB Nation. And now, Kris, let's get into how the wild card spots are going to be looking as we're getting ready to close out August here in a bit. We'll start with the AL. Look, the Yankees, the Red Sox, and the Rangers at this particular point in time when we're recording this on August 24th are battling it out for the AL wildcard spots. And I'm wondering, do you think there may be any sleeper teams that might be able to overtake maybe the Rangers, even the Red Sox as we're moving forward here? What are your thoughts?
Man, I hate this third wild card more this year than ever.
Right.
I looked at you gave me this question ahead of time, full disclosure, and I started looking for a sleeper team, and I don't like any of these teams. I mean, the team I like the best out of this group is the Tigers, and they're currently playing the worst of any of them. Not named Mariners. The Seattle's probably right there, but. I don't know. Yeah, Seattle's won 6 out of their last 10. They just had some humiliating losses in there. So, I'm trying to just squint here. I think the Red Sox are safe. I mean, unless the only way the pack catches the Red Sox is if the Red Sox come back to the pack. Is kind of the way I look at it at this point. So, if I had to pick somebody, maybe the Blue Jays. Dylan Cease. Jose Soriano, kind of like that pitching. If Vlad's had a terrible year, if he could get going, you might could squint. The Twins swept the Braves this past weekend. I watched a lot of that. Could they do it? I don't really see where they're at, but then again, you look at it and they're 5 games under 500. So I kind of feel like they're right where they should be. There's just not a team really taking off. And this is why I can't write the Mariners off, because I feel like one stretch of winning 8 out of 10 or 6 out of 8, and all of a sudden you go from three back to probably 2 up with this crowd of teams. Now it's going to produce a lot of drama down the stretch. I just wonder if this is going to be the year we have a sub 500 team. make the
Yeah.
postseason, and I don't know if that's
It could
fair.
happen. Yeah, it absolutely
Yeah.
could happen for sure. All right. Well, as we're moving along here, now on to the NL wild card race here. At this current time, it's the Cubs, the Phillies, and the Padres currently in those three spots. And, look, we talked about the Phillies a little bit earlier. Are there any sleeper teams that you're looking at here that might be able to overpower the Padres or maybe even the Phillies? Again, we know how streaky the Phillies have been. Yes, they're winning games right now, but look, nothing is solidified here towards the end of August. What are your thoughts on the NL?
There's still a lot of baseball to play, obviously,
Yeah.
but I mean, I feel good about the Phillies at this point. You worried a little bit coming out of the break, but I mean, I feel like they could win this division real easy, and the Braves could be in that spot. So,
Okay.
we're just gonna have to see what happens there. The Padres, I feel a little better about. They've played pretty well down the stretch. I mean, of the wild card teams chasing them, maybe the Diamondbacks, but they got a lot of drama going on right now with
Yeah.
Ketel Marte and haven't been playing. That's not been a great situation. I don't really believe in the Marlins, and I haven't really all year.
Yeah.
Great story, whatever, but I mean, I don't see them. I can't see them outplaying a Padres team that's already 11 games over 500
Yeah, I agree.
at this point. So,
Yeah.
I was pulling for the Cardinals. I thought the Cardinals were a great story this year, but they sold at the deadline, and I think it's kind of hurting them a little bit. I think you're starting to see that now. So,
Yeah.
definitely not over. But Padres have been streaky too. It feels like a lot of NL teams have been streaky, but
Absolutely.
I feel like the Padres are probably in the best position to grab that last wild card.
All right. Very good. Very good. Well, buddy, before I let you go here, great conversation as always. I wanted to get your thoughts on how you see this new collective bargaining agreement taking shape. Now, look, of course, we don't have that crystal ball like we talked about earlier, but there, amazingly enough, Rob Manfred said a couple days ago or a few days ago at this point, he anticipates baseball will be played next year. And I find it to be kind of humorous in a way. When you take a look at Major League Baseball, their front office, even Rob Manfred and how he's been running the league all these years, I wish that he would have said a little bit more a few days ago to help us baseball fans have some sort of confidence that something that we love in our lives, the game of baseball, is actually going to be played next year, and that the collective bargaining agreement is going to be something that can be taken care of in a timely fashion. I'm wondering how you think things will be going with this CBA and whether or not there actually will be baseball next year. What are your thoughts here, Kris?
Yeah, I liked it a lot better when we didn't cover the CBA negotiations until the season was actually over, because
Right.
I feel like the commissioner's office has learned that they trying to get in front of a lot of things. I mean, he's like, yeah, we're planning to play the season next year. That way they can blame it on the players if season is delayed. So I mean, it's all posturing, both sides. I try not to really pay that much attention. I know there's a lot of talk around the salary cap. A lot of people out there, a lot of fans out there think the salary cap is needed. We talked about the Dodgers. I'm not personally pro cap. I'm not, but I mean, I could get behind it, but I don't think the players are ever going to do it.
Yeah.
I think the biggest problem we have is not the teams spending $400 million. I think it's the ones that won't spend.
Yeah.
And, I look at a team like Pittsburgh, who has one of the nicest stadiums in Major League Baseball. That is a rabid fan base. You can go look at any Steelers. You can go look at the SB Nation Steelers site if you want to see passion.
Yeah.
There you go. I mean, you spend a little money, put some. If you don't want to sign free agents, spend it on player development.
Yeah.
Get some homegrown stars, and I promise you that stadium will be full every night. If you put a realistic team out there that has a chance. So, my prediction, I think it'll go down to the last possible day where a 162 game season is possible.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll get
Makes
solved
sense.
early. Could they miss games? Absolutely. I think it would be the worst decision for both sides, because I feel like the sport's in better shape right now than it has been in a long time.
That's very
and
true.
I think if they miss games, I don't know how long it's going to take them to recover
Yeah.
if they do recover. I mean, to me, I feel like the salary cap's not about competitive balance. I mean, look at the Rays, look at the Brewers. Those are not top salary teams. Look at the Mets.
Yeah.
Spending money, you can't spend, I know people will throw the Dodgers up, but spending money doesn't guarantee you anything if the pieces don't fit.
Right.
It's been proven over and over and over.
You mentioned the Mets. Look at the Mets, for God's sake. Look what they did in terms of throwing money around the past couple seasons, and look where they're at right now.
Exactly. I mean, and I mean the Rays, the Brewers are the best. How many big name players have the Brewers let walk? But they've invested in their pitching development. To me, that's as important in many cases than handing out an 8-year, $300 million contract. If you can replenish, you can be smart about it. The Dodgers do both. And, I wish the Braves did both. I'm sure you wish the Phillies would do that.
Yeah.
I mean, it would feel good to go into the offseason and say, hey, we got as good a chance to sign the top guy as anybody.
Yeah.
But, I think a salary cap doesn't have as much to do with competitive balance as it does as raising franchise values. And I think that's what they're never going to say that, but I think that's the core thing about it. Would a salary cap work? Sure. If you're going to if you're going to set a floor high enough. And I don't think in good faith, I don't think the owners will ever set a floor high enough to make the players agree to it. So it's going to be interesting. I just try to stay optimistic about it because I think there's too much money at stake for both sides.
Yep.
To miss games. But if we'll just have to see. I mean, if they want to push this cap, I guess there's a chance. We'll just have to see how things go. Once the lockout gets here.
Absolutely. We're going to have to wait and see. And it's a storyline we're going to be following here at the PST Podcast Show. It was great talking to you, Kris. Again, folks, he is Kris Willis from SBNation.com. Always love having you on, my friend. Come back, join us again. I would love to have you back on the show.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I have a great time every time I come. So thank you for having me.